Consumer Federation of Kenya. Let's now go back to politics. Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta is in Nyamira County. Yesterday, he was in Kisii. His deputy, William Ruto, has been in Luhyaland. He was in Kakamega ahead of Uhuru's arrival today in Kakamega. The deputy president has set the stage, holding rallies in Lumakanda, Matungu, Navaholo, and Chepterwai in Kakamega. Now, Ruto urged voters to re-elect the Jubilee government as its leaders had an agenda for the region. He was accompanied by members of parliament David Were of Matungu, Ben Shinali of Ikolomani, Babu Namwamba of Budalangi, and Benjamin Washiali of Mumias East, among others. So what really does this continuous visit to Western region mean for the Jubilee government and, of course, the opposition NASA? Let's speak to our political analyst joining us in studio now, Makoha Wanjala. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Areas like Western and Coast region have been, and Kisii, of course,
yes,
have been of great interest to the Jubilee government because they're trying to make inroads in areas deemed to be opposition strongholds. Are we likely to see grounds shifting, especially in Western, where Ruto has camped several times?
Yes. As a politician, I don't think you would want to write off Western Province, as it were, and largely Kisii, looking at the voting patterns that we have seen in the past and a situation where they tend to listen to the regional kingpins. So it gets to a point where if you get a nice entry into the region, then you more or less can get the votes in a basket. But be it as it may, that is what you would say at the top level, but there are also undercurrents in Western Province that I think are informing the reason why the president and the deputy president are coming with that frequency. And in my view, one of those undercurrents is that for once, the major blocks in Western Province, as it were in the last provincial administration, you do have the Kakamega region, which largely has the Maragoli, and you have this other side, which has a significant number of the Bukusu as a majority. Generally, there has been a ping-pong where if the Maragolis are on one side of government, then the Bukusus are definitely on the other side. But we are looking at a situation where there is a high possibility that for once, the kingpins from the Maragoli area, as represented by Musalia Mudavadi and Khalwale and the others, and then the Bungoma area, as represented by Wetangula and others, are more or less coalescing, and there is a danger that for once the entire vote basket of Western could lead to NASA.
So should the opposition be worried?
The opposition needs to be worried because the president is carrying freebies, and some
they do
real,
not have.
Yes, some real and some not. And I say that with a measure of caution because in the current financial dispensation, the president doesn't have that much goodwill, for example, to come and say this road will be done if the same was not budgeted for. So what we are seeing is, in effect, launches and, in some instances, relaunches of projects that have been earmarked to be undertaken by the government. Take the case of Pan Paper, for instance. President Kibaki relaunched it, President Uhuru relaunched it, and people have been waiting for smoke. And of course, the deputy president has said that the way to know that that factory is working is not to look at smoke. But of course, there's another reality. Have we seen lorries carrying logs of wood entering the factory? And the answer is no. So you see a bit of PR. But give it to the government. There is also a number of infrastructure projects that have been undertaken in the region, especially in the area of roads. So there's a bit that has gone into it. Give it to them. They are government, they are Jubilee, so you cannot take this away from them. However, to my mind, the opposition has also spinned the narrative that this is a government of two groups and we are excluded. So to the extent that that notion is able to be accepted by the common people, then for once I see a significant portion of Western tilting towards NASA.
So finally, I understand we don't have too much time, but in just 2 sentences, what is the likelihood that the Western vote will largely inform the August 8th poll?
To a great extent, one of the things that NASA has been able to do is to reinvent 202. to try and create what was then known as a Pentagon. So I see a situation where they have a more persuasive and convincing language. And for the government, I think it is just a case of a bad time. I mean, we are suffering issues of hunger. The economy isn't doing very well. Inflation, the figures are beyond target. And we have issues of public debt and what have you. So to me, I think the government just finds themselves at a bad place at a bad time.
Okay.
For me, the song is easier for the opposition.
Well, we'll see how that goes. Makoha Wanjala, thank you for coming in. He's a political analyst. Fortunately, we have to wrap it on that note. Up next is Business Today, so don't go too